What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy, Storyteller Jet, with another episode of the That's So Fire Talk Show. And today we have Antwan, Shirley here in the house. Let's go. Are you ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. Let's go. So today we are going to talk about your journey, some lessons learned, some crazy experiences that you've had to endure during your life and to where you are at. And doing some really pretty cool stuff over here. So
Yes,
ready to rock and roll?
I'm ready to rock and roll.
Awesome. So let's start by doing a quick introduction. Who is Antwan Shirley?
Absolutely. So Antwan Shirley is a real estate investor as well as the president of Energetic Exotics. So I've been in real estate for quite some time, and then as well as now I'm in the car industry, which is Energetic Exotics.
Fantastic. So how did your story start as it relates to entrepreneurs? Where did you get started when you first started doing, entrepreneur things?
Honestly, it's so tough to say, hey, I started my entrepreneurial journey when I was, I don't know, 10 years ago or 8 years ago when I started. It honestly started when I was way younger. I remember being in school trying to sell lollipops. That was the kid I was. So I'd be in school, I have a box of lollipops I'd buy or a bag of lollipops I'd buy for $1 or $2, and I try to sell those for 50 cents a piece or $1 a piece. Not only that, but I remember being back in high school, I'd take food from the cafeteria and try to sell that, candy, snacks. I tried to sell anything.
Take food from the cafeteria and try to sell it to other
Those lunch
people.
ladies loved me.
Wow, that is
The
awesome.
lunch ladies would give me free food, and I tried to resell that free food essentially. It's always been in my blood. I think honestly, since I was 9 years old in third grade, I was trying to. So I've been an entrepreneur all my life. However, on the professional setting and making some good money since 2017, 8 years now.
Yeah. So you just mentioned professional side, and we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
But what were some of the entrepreneur things that you were doing that were not on the professional side, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I tried everything in the book. What I realized about myself is that I'll try something and I'll become so proficient and so good at it. And that could be good, that could be bad. It's a double-edged sword. So from selling candy, I ended up transitioning. I met some people and I ended up actually selling drugs. I don't know how I got there, but I knew I was good at it. It just made sense. It made so much sense and it was super easy and I made good money. So for a few years of my life, I actually was a low-key drug dealer. Low-key in a sense that I'm not flashy. I wasn't buying the typical gold and the earrings and all that crazy stuff. I was doing some pretty crazy stuff, man. And the moment that actually stopped me is when I got into a room with these guys and there was cocaine on the table and like pills. And I was like, ooh, I was just selling weed. This is too much. That was actually the day that I ended up stopping. And what made me very good at that, and I'm not condoning, don't do drugs. What made me good is that don't get high on your own supply. I didn't smoke. I didn't smoke. I didn't care to smoke. I don't do drugs. I don't pop Molly, or I never wanted to fit in with what everybody else was doing. I very rarely drink. I only drink on occasions when I'm out and about or if I'm with my business partners or whatever the case. Outside of that, I mean, I'm not at home at like 1 a.m, like, let's go grab a bottle. I never really cared for that. So that was a path of my life and it was super easy money. I mean, I literally like just love the feeling of being able to take 1 and turn it to 2 or take 2 and turn it into 4 or 4 into 8. That was just how my brain operated anyways. And I just loved making money.
Yeah. So I guess my question for you, like obviously there was a point that was the first time that you started doing that. If you weren't smoking it, you weren't doing anything for it. How did you get started in selling drugs?
Environment, just my environment. So the people that I was around, I mean, I was around some crazy stuff. I figured out that I was a very influential individual in middle school when I spoke to a guy. I can't even remember the guy's name. However, I convinced him to go fight another guy that I didn't like. I was just very influential. I was good at just selling a story to people during that time. I'm like, hey, man, I need you to go do this for me. And I would be around this environment and I'd see what people were doing. I'm like, you know what? if this idiot can do it, I can do it too. But I know that I can do it on a scale that's going to be better than him because I can walk around the school, talk to the principal, talk to the sheriff, the officers, and they just look at me as, oh, okay, that's just Antwan, the school student. Whereas the guy that's pants sagging and he has that look that looks like a drug dealer was getting caught up. So I was, again, that's why I say low key. I was low key in a sense where I was invisible to everybody. No one was looking for me. All the while I'm graduating high school with a 3.7 GPA, and I have a biomedical science scholarship to USF. I'm doing all this stuff, right? I'm super smart, but I also just love money. I loved money. I had to make money. And just growing up, for me specifically, my older brother, I was very influenced by what he was doing. He was in the music scene and he was around all these cool people. And I was like, man, I want some Jordans because I'm seeing these guys with Jordans, or hey, I want whatever the cool trend is at that time. I wanted it, but it's so cool. My brain is weird. I wanted it and I utilized that as fuel to work harder, but I never bought the stuff. I just stacked my money.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I mean that's also like very scary if you're doing all this stuff, because the downside of that, if you get cut,
Oh yeah, you're
that
done.
could be like a life altering event
Absolutely,
to do
absolutely.
that. So
Well, it is life altering. What I ended up doing, which is super crazy, when I was in school pre 18, I actually did get arrested a few different times. However, it wasn't for drugs. It was actually just, like I said, I was very influential. A lot of fighting, just attitude problems, essentially. A lot of attitude problems and just fighting. And allegedly, I was a gang member. I don't know about that. Allegedly, this is how they labeled me. I don't know anything about that. But that was my label during that time. And I promised myself after 18 that if I was going to be an adult, that I was going to make sure not to get in trouble. So very, very low key. I kept to myself. That time period of trying to be Tony Montana literally only lasted for like, I think maybe 2-3 years. I said only, but that's a pretty long time. But it it lasted for like 2-3 years. And what I ended up doing is utilizing that seed money actually to start and fuel my real estate career. So after finishing all that up, graduated in 2015 from high school. 2017 is when I started being a real estate individual, and I started off with wholesaling real estate. So the biggest thing, and a lot of people don't know what wholesaling real estate is, so I'll go ahead and explain it. If, let's just say you're the owner of a property that got passed down to you, so you inherited this property from your parents. It's in Florida, you live in Texas, and it's ran down. It's a shack. I will call you and say, hey, this property is, it's not in good condition. The grass is high. Are you looking to sell? You're like, yeah, my parents left me it, man. Just make me an offer. I'd look at the numbers. If this property is worth, as an example, 300K, right? And it's going to take me maybe 50K in repairs, I'm probably 99% going to offer you 40 to 50%, 50 cents on the dollar. So let's just say hypothetical in that situation, I'm gonna probably try to beat you down and say, hey, I'll give you $90,000. If you accept that, sweet. Now I'm gonna take that $90,000 contract, create another contract with the actual buyer, and say, hey, I have a property for easy numbers 110. I make a $20,000 assignment fee, as they call it, and then I maneuver from there. That was what I was doing for the beginning of my real estate career back in 2017. That lasted for 3 years. Still do it now, but that lasted for 3 years up until I was like, hey, you know what? I don't know if this is a great area or not. I probably need to get licensed. So I ended up getting licensed as an actual realtor in 2020. So it's been 5 years now as a realtor. But I needed to do that just for credibility, talking to individuals, talking to people about, hey, I want to buy your house. But they're like, what's your brokerage? I'm like, I'm just a private investor. I don't need a brokerage license. And it became a headache. So I ended up doing that. And that's essentially how that whole journey shifted over into real estate.
incredible. You have an incredible journey, and I can't wait for us to talk about that more on the show. But one thing that you just alluded to is about going to jail. Can you talk to me a little bit
Oosh.
about, like, what happened, and how did that, or how did you end up going to jail?
So for me growing up, one of the things that I had a tough tough time with was just I guess if you want to call it my attitude. I grew up in a super kind of weird situation where it's like I had younger parents and they were trying to figure out life, and I was primarily raised by my grandparents for the most part. I was always at one of my grandmother's houses, like growing up. So I always tell people, they say, "Hey, how was your childhood with your parents?" I'm like, I was really raised by my grandparents. So being raised by my grandparents, it was kind of weird. One of my grandparents was like, "Hey, do whatever you want." The other one was a little bit more like, "Hey, read this Bible." So it was a little different, but I had the best of both worlds, if you want to call it that. The grandmother that actually let me do whatever I want, I was doing whatever I want. So by that, I was influenced again by my environment that I was whenever I went to her house and was seeing things. And for me, I just always went by a principle when I was younger, is that I'm just not going to let anybody bully me or try to push me or any of those situations. I was like, hey, I rather punch this guy in the face than let him sit here and say, hey, your shoes are ugly, right? I'm a kid at the time. This is like middle school. So my first arrest actually was in middle school. I started a riot.
A riot.
So I very influential. How? I have no clue. But I spoke to a drug dealer that I knew back then, and I'm like, hey man, these guys are talking about you. You need to go take care of them. And he's like, who? What I realized is, and I learned this at a very young age, is that emotion is energy in motion. I can trigger people. That's super crazy, but I shouldn't be able to affect your emotions like that, right? I shouldn't be able to say, hey, he said something about you and you go fight someone. I've always been very big on controlling my emotions to a certain extent. But instead of me doing the dirty work, I would get someone else to do it. And that's what I did. These guys were talking crap. I didn't like it. I said, okay, no problem. I'll be back. Got the guy. He got his gang because I don't know. He had a gang. This is middle school, by the way, guys. So he had a gang, and it's like 5, 6 of these guys went to go jump this guy and his friend because I told him to. So the police and the principal ended up reading my text messages and their text messages and stuff, and they said that it was a conspiracy and I'm the leader of a gang and I planned all this stuff. So that was my first time I went to jail. So that was 7th or 8th grade. Super crazy. Another time was in high school. Similar situation. Just fights, man. A lot of fights. A lot of fights.
Yeah. So dealing with all these kind of things, from high school, when did you decide that enough was enough and that you wanted to change your life for the better?
For the fighting aspect, 18. I couldn't get in trouble, man. I didn't want to get in trouble. I wanted to clear up my appearance. I actually, at 18, I signed up for a proper etiquette class. I actually went through right over here in Clearwater. There is a program by the fraternity and sorority, the alphas and the AKAs, and I went into this program and it helped me out. So I learned proper etiquette. That was something I never got taught growing up, and I think it's very big for us as a community. And I mean younger men in general, and not of any specific color, but just younger men in general to know proper etiquette. How to eat, culinary skills. I learned that culinary skills, the proper way to eat. I kid you not, and my grandmother used to get on me about this. I think my father did too when I was younger. We'd go out to eat. I'd lift up the steak with my hands and just bite into it like it was a burger. I didn't know, right? And it was embarrassing to them, but hey, no one ever taught me anything. You just, hey, don't do that. And it's like, okay, why? I don't know why. So going through that program and learning all those things really helped me when I was 18. And it actually is the reason why, and I always tell people that I keep a clean cut. I try to stay clean cut. I have a lot of tattoos. A lot of people don't know I have tattoos. Well, I have a lot of tattoos that I got when I was 14 years old. Why did I get tattoos at 14, guys? I have no clue. But I got a lot of tattoos when I was 14 years old. A lot of people don't know I have tattoos, and that's because I stay overly professional. I like to keep a clean look. That's very big to me. Very, very big to me. It's just keeping that appearance. And I promised myself at 18 that I'll never have any issues ever again.
Yeah, that's awesome. So for anybody that may have had a similar upbringing like yours, that ran into trouble with the law or even dealing drug, what advice would you give them if they wanted to change their life for the better?
For me, honestly, I think it's just your environment. I always place it on environment. There's a sweet phrase I like to utilize is, if you have 4 friends and they're doing X, Y, and Z, you'll be the fifth friend doing X, Y, and Z. I 100% believe that if I'm around drug dealers all day, it's 99% chance that I'm going to be a drug dealer, right? If I'm around excellence and guys that are excelling and they're crushing the day, if I'm around those guys, I'm going to be on that path as well. I think people need to change their environment. Something I chose to do was leave the neighborhood that I was raised in and to move. I moved to specifically to Tampa, and I kid you not, I thought Tampa was like New York when I moved there.
Wow.
Definitely not New York, but I didn't know any better. That's just my environment I was stuck in, and I still have friends back home that they don't leave the area. They don't care to leave the area. This is all they know. I love to inspire individuals and push individuals to want to be great. Get out of your environment, go travel, change your scenery. I think changing your scenery and seeing that the world is bigger than just your neighborhood or the few streets or blocks that you're looking at, that's bigger than anything. Just go get out of the neighborhood. And in all honesty, changing your appearance. I know a lot of guys are like, I'm not cutting my dreads or I'm not cutting my hair. Man, changing your appearance makes a big difference. And cleaning yourself up as far as like dress code, like just dressing, man. I look back at older photos of myself. I used to have gold teeth. You can't tell. I know. I
Yeah,
used to have gold teeth.
definitely could
A lot of
not.
people can't tell. A lot of people can't tell. I know. Pants used to sag, the whole thing. I that stuff is crazy. I tell people that makes a huge difference when you're dealing with people. I hang out with cops all the time. I have no issues with any police. And I know that's a thing here in the black community where it's like, oh, nah, man, you're being profiled based off of how you're dressed.
Mhm.
It sucks, but hey, me personally, if a guy looks a certain type of way, I'm probably gonna clutch my pearls as well. Um,
Clutch
but
my pearls.
clutch my pearls.
Yep.
But no, I the advice I would give is just change your environment, change your scenery, get out of that specific situation you're in, and also start reading books.
Yeah. Fantastic advice. So from dealing with all of those things as you were growing up, what is the biggest lesson that you would say that you've learned that is helping you today as it relates to, leading businesses and all of that?
For sure. The biggest thing I would say is I was able to utilize my God-given talent. And for me specifically, I think my God-given talent is being able to connect with people and I guess put A with B. What I mean by that specifically is, Jet, you say, hey, you know what, man? I've been looking for a guy to do my floors. I need my floors done. My brain has a database, a catalog, if you would want to call it that, where I'm just like, okay, cool. Flooring, put them together with Luis. Cool. My brain is like that 24/7 where I'm around individuals and I can just, okay, connect. I'm a connector. I think being a connector or a puzzle or a person that can solve a puzzle piece, because that's what I like to do. I like to try to solve the puzzles, is my biggest asset, along with just understanding business and just the fundamentals of business, right? So I can come into a company specifically and say, okay, I see what's going on here. There's no marketing, there's no advertising, there's no leadership. All of these things need to be fixed. And these are things that I was doing when I was younger. I don't know how, but I was a leader of a gang allegedly. That's some cool leadership skills to say, hey, you guys go fight this group of guys, which is super crazy. Wrong setting and mentality, but right type of leadership, right? And if you can translate that over here into the business world, is good. Even from the dealership side, I think forgot who said it, but they say a lot of drug dealers, successful ones, they're very good entrepreneurs or businessmen because they understand profit and loss. They understand buy low, sell high. They understand all these different principles to a certain extent. They just need the business mindset and the business mind or business frame to go ahead and understand the whole situation, right? I think all of those fundamentals that I had from back in those glory days, I call it, all those fundamentals ended up helping me now, and it's like clockwork, man. It's simple in my brain now.
Yeah. Fantastic advice. So earlier we talked about there was a point of your life that you were sleeping in your car, that you did not have a place to live. Can you talk to me? How did that end up happening, and how did you get out of that situation?
For sure. So life is a interesting journey. I like to call it like a stock chart. It's your ups and downs, your ebbs and flows. Life will always be up, life will always go down. And I always think saving for a rainy day is good, right? I was good at making money, but I wasn't a good saver. I would during specific times, I would make a lot of money and then I'd be like, hey, I'm not spending anything. And then I'd have a weird moment where I just spend up all my money. And I was at a point, it was a weird part of my life where I was like, hey, I don't have anywhere to go. And I was super prideful, overly prideful. I wouldn't tell anybody. I didn't want anybody to know that because I love upholding this excellent image. So this is actually before I got into real estate. I was literally, while selling drugs, sleeping in the car, man. It was an interesting time of my life. I did not know what to do, how to do. I messed up my credit super young. I got credit cards. I don't know why I got credit cards. No one ever taught me about credit cards, but I got like a $5,000 credit card and I maxed that thing out and I never paid it because I didn't know. I thought someone just gave me free money. Hey, thank you. So maxed out credit cards. I wasn't able to get a place. I didn't know how to get a place. I never got taught any of that stuff. Even during that time, I went to go finance a car. I had a 750 credit score. I'm like 18, 19. I have no clue how my credit score is this high at this age, whatever. Give me the car. Now I'm sleeping in the car. It's absolutely insane. But my way of going about things was just weird during that time. And it's crazy. I talk to a lot of guys now, and a buddy of mine, great buddy of mine, he was like, yeah, I was poor too. I was poor. I had to sleep in my Porsche when I was in college. I didn't have a place for a few days and had to sleep in my Porsche. I'm like, we're not relating. I didn't have a Porsche. I had a Nissan. And that's sweet that you had that situation, but I don't know how I got there. I always encourage people to live below their means now. Read The Millionaire Next Door. I think that's a great book for a lot of people. A lot of people bring in 10,000 and they spend 10,000. For myself, I always told myself moving forward, I will live on less than 30% of the money that I bring in on a monthly basis or annual basis, however you look at that. I live strictly below my means. I definitely don't ever want to be in that type of situation again. However, things happen, and that's the ebbs and flows of life.
Yeah. From our prior conversation, there was a time that you had a huge loss as it relates for one of your real estate business deal that went bad. Can you share a little bit about that and what did that teach you about business and about resilience?
For sure. Guys, if you're going to do a partnership in real estate, know who you're doing it with or know that they're a legitimized person. I done a couple different business deals recently, past few years, specifically two real estate deals with a business partner that I was very close with. Lost a lot of money. Uh, lost a lot of money, unfortunately. That was just because of ego on their behalf. Hey, I'm going to do it this way. And when it comes to real estate, I try to get in and specifically, I don't want it to be cheap in a sense of look, but cheap in a sense of price. I understand that, hey, I don't need the $5 a piece tile. I'll do the $2.50 or the $2, the $1.99. They look pretty similar. Let's do this one. It just makes more sense. But during those two partnerships, I had a partner that was more my way. I got to do it this way. I want it like this, and ended up in us spending more time and money than needed. And by the time it was ready to sell, I ended up losing like 30K on one house. The other house was like 50 grand. And most recently, I had another situation where I lost 100K on the house of my own money, by the way, which is sick. Sick. If you haven't been sick before, I tell you, I was sick. Like my stomach was sick. Luckily, I always tell people you always want to surround yourself around great people. Luckily, my friend group, my group of excellence was able to provide different opportunities for me to start recouping a lot of those funds. But you definitely just want to learn about who you're doing business with. Business and friends don't mix. I always heard that. You do have those one-of-one situations where they could, but for me and for my situation, I always say moving forward, no business with friends, no business with family. Family will do the same thing a friend will do, and friends will do the same thing an enemy will do. Just keep it away. Go talk to somebody that only cares about the analytics, the numbers, and they're specifically just worried about the return on investment, like a hard money lender or private money, whatever, and just deal with them. Don't deal with a friend. I got screwed over pretty bad, and moving forward, I know for me personally, I'm like any deals that I do in real estate, I'm just going to do it by myself. I'll put up my own money, but I know that if anything goes on, it's on me. I'm not going to point fingers at anybody else. It's just going to be on me at that point.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, you are in a partnership with Marlon and Jessica, two fantastic people and friends. So, what would you say is the key to a successful partnership?
A successful partnership to me is everybody knowing their responsibilities and roles and they're just sticking to that. For energetic exotics, Marlon is in the background dealing with the investors. He's dealing with the day-to-day situations as far as like lunches with investors or people that are looking to invest into the company. And he's in the background doing a lot of stuff like that. He's meeting with the big wigs. He's meeting with the big wigs. That's what I like to call it. As far as the day-to-day operations on the financial side, that's what Jessica takes care of. She's taking care of making sure all the money's looking right, all the money's coming in, proper money's coming out, and just taking care of the routine situations. As of myself, I'm just out. I'm doing a lot of the footwork. I'm shaking hands and kissing babies. I'm making different partnerships and I'm meeting different clients, stuff like that. Everyone has their role, everyone knows their role, and everyone puts 100% into that role rather than I'm trying to meet with the investors because Marlon's not available or, hey, how much money we got here? Let me see the money. Like, no, everyone has their role. Everyone does what they need to do. And if you have a partnership where everyone knows what to do and how to do in that specific tier, it flows.
Awesome. What are some of the criteria that you would say to anybody watching this if they were considering to go into a partnership with somebody? What is the bullet list of things that they need to check to make sure that that partnership is going to work? Because one of my friends says the only ship that never sails is a partnership.
Yeah, I again know the roles of the situation. It's like a relationship or a marriage, right? Um, if you're going to get married, you're telling your wife or husband, hey, this is what I'm bringing to the table, right? And as long as you're bringing those things to the table and you're keeping up with it, everything flows well. Now, you might have some times where, again, those ebbs and flows, it might go up and down, but as long as you're doing your duties as you stated via your vows for a marriage, obviously, everything goes well. I think for if you're looking to do a partnership, you need to have it set where it's like, okay, cool. This is what I need to do, and this is what I'm going to do. For the other individual, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I need to do, and just have those things listed out and make sure that they're doing it. Stay on top of each other, keep each other accountable. If you have a situation where there's ego involved, it's not going to work out because you might have partner one trying to look over partner two's shoulder and he's like, I don't like it that way. I want to do it my way, this way, that way. It doesn't work like that. Hey, if I'm a graphic designer and you're a media host, let me take care of all the graphic designing. You just focus on being in front of the camera. We don't need to collide those two things. We can have a great partnership, a fruitful partnership, if everyone just do what they need to do for themselves.
Yeah. You often say, don't quit, pivot. Can you share with me what does that mean to you?
Man, pivoting is one of the biggest things that I love to do. You'll have a situation, and I have this every single day. Something might happen, and it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do? One of the things I always learned is not to panic. I don't care to panic. Something can happen. The ceiling can fall through right now, and my brain is going to be like, oh my god, the ceiling. I'm going to be like, okay, exit, exit. Where's the exit? Got to get out of here. It's a lot of people aren't quick on their feet, and that was something I learned very young. It's just a hey, think fast, or you're gonna be dead. Hey, you got to move quick. You got to think. You got to be on your feet. So for me to pivot, it's like, okay, let's say hypothetical. Let's use a business situation, right? Let's say that you're looking to work on a deal with somebody and something goes wrong, the deal falls through. Instead of oh my gosh, I'm going to kill myself, or oh my gosh, my life is ruined. How can I fulfill that situation, right? Real estate. I have a deal. My private money lender drops. I can't get in contact with them, but I got to close tomorrow. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going in the streets. I'm knocking doors. Hey, I need private money. Somebody needs to give me, where's my money? Someone needs to give me money. I have to close this deal tomorrow. I need the money. I'm calling people. I'm figuring it out. Somebody reaches out to me right now. They're like, hey, Antwan, I'm looking for some land. Can you help me find some land? I looked all over the MLS. I can't find anything. You know what I'm doing? I'm hitting the streets and I'm calling people, where's my money? Right? Because I have to get this deal closed. That's just how my brain operates. Again, I love figuring out puzzle pieces. You always have to pivot. If option A, if there's a barricade or a block or something like that, right? Like how they say the phrase, if you can't go through the door, go through the window. Hey, I'm getting out the window. If I got to climb through the roof, the attic, I'm going to figure it out. You have to pivot. If you don't pivot, you're not going to survive in this world.
Absolutely. There is something that you just mentioned that I think we should probably touch on. And there's a lot of people when they hit those setbacks or hit those hard moments, the things that is happening between those two ears is probably, oh man, this is gonna be so hard. You know, what advice would you give to those types of people about mindset and how they need to like what's the word? How do you keep your mindset strong after like when you are um how do you keep your mindset strong when you are hitting those big setbacks?
My mindset is I'm weird. Me specifically, I'm weird. So I won't utilize my situation. I'll say if you're a new entrepreneur and you're going through the journey, I would say if you hit a roadblock, look at other people that's in that specific field and see what happened to them when they hit that roadblock. For me, I don't look at obstacles or losses as losses. I'm like, okay, cool. What was the lesson? And you have to be quick about learning that lesson. If you sit here and, oh, I'm gonna lay in bed and lay up under the covers all day because I'm sad, that's time wasted. Let's figure out the lesson and let's go ahead and move forward. If you're going to cry about something, cool, cry. We all do that, but don't spend a week doing that. Cry for an hour and be like, all right, cool, what's next? Move on, right? If you dwell in that situation, it's going to cause depression. And if you get into depression, you're lost.
Yeah.
Depression sucks. You'll be
Yeah.
lost. Get out of that situation and go ahead and move forward. A lot of entrepreneurs hit roadblocks and they're like, well, I didn't make any sales today. Guess I'm going to go quit. No. What were you doing that wasn't generating sales? Were you just calling people? Were you just on Facebook? Were you just on Instagram? Try a different route. Hey, you know what? Let me reach out to somebody and try to do a partnership with them. Maybe that'll help me generate sales. There's always an exit, there's always a route, there's always a way. And if you believe that and if you look at things in that manner, you'll always be successful.
That's awesome that you shared that. That's I think will be very valuable to a lot of people listening to that. One other thing that you just touched on is depression. You said depression sucks. Can you share some advice with anybody that may be watching this that may be going through something hard or that is going through depression right now?
For sure. Depression is easier to tell someone to get over it is easier said than done, obviously. But again, to live in that state is living in doom. To live in a state of depression is living in doom. You're killing yourself, literally, mentally, emotionally, physically. Your body feels all of that depression, and your body actually shuts down some certain times. I would tell people figure out a way to get out of it, whether it's going to go take a walk or whatever the case may be. You can't live in depression. When I go through certain situations, I think to myself, I have a buddy actually, he's from Mexico, and he's documented, guys. But he came from Mexico and he literally came to the country as a new citizen. And this guy has a multi-million-dollar landscaping business. He didn't have time to be depressed. Depression didn't matter to him. You know what mattered to him? I have my sister I need to feed. I have my mother I need to feed. I have my abuelita I need to feed. I have my cousins. I have all these people I need to take care of. I have to get my family over here. I don't have time to be depressed. When you think about individuals like that, people that are coming into the country and they're like, the honest, hardworking ones that just want the opportunity, and you're depressed because you know you didn't get that promotion. So you're gonna go home to your penthouse and lay up under your soft, silky sheets and just cry and eat ice cream for the rest of the day. You have all these people out here that are in crazy situations that wish they can be in your position. I always remember that, right? There's always someone that's worse off than you. And when you take that in consideration, like I sit in my car and I'll be like, man, dang, today sucked. Oh, wait a minute. I'm in a Lamborghini right now. I'm in a Lamborghini right now complaining about my day. It's when you take certain things like that into perspective, it kind of, well, life isn't that bad, I guess, you know. Okay, cool. Let me just go ahead and do something different. I think for people that are going through those situations, look at what you have. Look at what you got going on right now and find a sense of gratitude in yourself and what you have and then move on from there.
Yeah, one of the biggest advice that I've received from my former pastor and other friends, like when I'm kind of feeling myself and kind of, oh man, this is so hard, this is so crazy. They say instead of like looking in the future and comparing yourself to like other bigger people and doing all of that, look back to see where you've come from. Look at the journey that you've like the experiences, like the growth that you've experienced and how far you have come to where you are at today, and that automatically help switch the perspective could to help me snap out of like those like hard moments. So
Oh man, they happen. I mean, we're entrepreneurs. Our days are not guaranteed. Like there's times where you'll make negative dollars a day, or you'll have $10 that day, or you'll make 1,000 or 10,000 or 1,000,000. It just depends, right? Things are going to happen, but again, exactly like you said, right? Look at the situation and realize where you came from. Look exactly where you came from. There is a point in your life where you actually thought about how it would feel just to be in the seat that you're in, right?
absolutely.
And you're in that seat and now you're complaining about something in the future. Oh man, I got to get these things done by December. It's like you at one point in your life was just dreaming, just a concept of just sitting in the position that you're currently in. When you take that in and just look at the overall situation, it's like, wow, you know what? Man, I'm actually grateful that I'm even in this position because look at things from a statistics, man. It's a very low percentage of people that are successful entrepreneurs, let alone entrepreneurs that make money. If you're an entrepreneur and you're making money, you're a very, very low percentage statistic in the country. Better yet, if you're an entrepreneur and you're not making money, you're still a very low, because people this is tough. People don't even want to go through with it. So if you're just starting out and you're not making the money you want, or things aren't going the way that you want, pivot, figure out how can I make changes to have my business go up.
Yeah. So now let's transition a little bit to talk about energetic exotic. So how did you get involved? How did you meet Jessica and Marlon? And how did you get involved in energetic exotic?
I held them up at gunpoint, so I don't want in. I met Jessica and Marlon a few years ago. They were my clients. I was their real estate agent. So I took care of them, bought properties, bought lands, and every closing, these guys showed up to the closing in some different car. So I'm like, okay, they don't look like drug dealers. I don't think they're drug dealers. Something's going on here. And when I actually asked, they told me, hey, we have an exotic car company. I just kept asking questions. I couldn't wrap my mind around it. I hate to be the stereotype type of guy, but I never seen people of color in exotic cars. That was the first to me. Better yet, I didn't see people that I had access to that were in exotic cars. So that was interesting to me. That for me was super cool. And I was like, you know what? What do you guys need? What do you guys need? Let me help you guys out. I want in. And 2022, I actually became a partner of theirs, and we've been accelerating ever since, man. We bring together certain essences about each other that just completes the business. Whether it's me going out and doing things like this and just promoting the brand, always wearing my T-shirt, and people are like, "Hey, man, what is that?" Or if it's Marlon and he's meeting together with some guys and they're having drinks and he's talking to them and they're like, "I want to invest into the company with my car." Or if it's Jessica going out and collecting that money because she's about her money. It just depends on the situation, but we complete each other. It's a puzzle. It all goes back to the puzzle. it's a puzzle that works out, and we're just overly accelerating.
Yeah, there's something you just talked about, and I think that could be a really great advice to some other people. Those people that never ask, they never are curious. So, can you share that advice with them once more
For sure.
about like asking questions and like being curious?
So one of the things for me is again, I used to be overly prideful. You couldn't tell me anything, I didn't want to hear it. But I put my pride to the side. After joining that proper etiquette situation, I just became more open to certain situations. So whenever you're looking to be a part of something, there's a specific way you ask. Most people, and it's so crazy, I'd be driving in the streets in like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or something, and some guy that's standing outside is like, "Put me on, bro. Can you put me on?" I'm like, "Nah, goodbye. I'm not." That's not how you approach people. The proper way is, "Hey, man, like, what do you do? I'm curious. Oh, I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that. Awesome. You know what? You said that you're in finance. I'm actually getting licensed for finance. Is there any way that I can come and shadow you? Is there any way that I can be an intern? I just want to be in the room. Can I just come and sit in the room and just listen? I don't want any money. You don't have to pay me." That was my approach all the time whenever I was around Marlon and Jessica. I didn't want anything. I didn't want anything monetary wise. I just wanted to be in that room with them. I just wanted to see the cars. I never sat inside of a Lamborghini. I never seen a Lamborghini in person, let alone touch the door handle. So for me, I just wanted to be in that room. And once I got in that room, I was like, you know what? They need help here. We didn't have an Instagram. I was like, let me set an Instagram up for them. Let me connect them with some people that I know that I think can help benefit the business. I looked in that Rolodex of mine and I'm like, you know what? This person works. This person works. Let me fill up the shopping cart. This person works. I connected all these pieces and they're like, hey, you know what? You would make a great fit of the team. And I always tell people, I bought in. Hey, here's my money. Take my money. Take all my money. Take everything. Here you go. I'm in. I'm all in. And if you know how to properly approach or talk to people, there's no reason why that you won't be able to be a part of that circle. Rick Ross, one of my favorite rappers, one of my favorite artists. I don't want to say rappers. One of my favorite artists always talks about how he'll have people reach out to him on Instagram, like, "Hey man, shout me out," or "Let me pay for a feature." And he'll look at their Instagram page and like, "You want me to collab with you, but you don't even have my marketing on your page. Like you haven't showed me any love. Why should I show you love?" And I take those principles back and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm at Jet Studio right now. You know what? Hey, I know I got to move that over to the side a little bit. Let me just do it for him. He shouldn't have to ask me. Let me help him out. You know what? Hey, let me wipe the tables off. Let me sweep the floor for him. He needs help, right? I shouldn't have to wait for you to ask me, or I shouldn't have to wait to see you to do it. Let me just do it for you. That's like, oh wow, that's cool. He's helping out. He didn't want anything. For people that's used to people begging and having a hand out, it gets annoying. I understand that now where I am. There has to be a specific approach. You can't just, hey, gimme, 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 gimme. It also has to be a reciprocal situation where it's a give and take relationship, right? You have a lot of people that are over givers and you have a lot of people that are over takers, and it'll never work out. It has to be a give and take relationship where I'm giving to you and I'm taking and I'm giving and I'm taking, and it ends up working out. It has to make sense whenever you're approaching that situation.
Love it. Love it. I think that's probably one of the biggest thing a lot of people lack
Yep.
today. They just kind of waiting for things to happen with them without them kind of taking that same approach that you just shared. Um, and when you have that servant approach or servant, yeah, when you have that servant approach, the things that you actually want will happen for you instead of just kind of trying to like wait for it to come to you. So
Absolutely.
very well put, and I really really like what you just said here. So energetic exotic, we talked a little bit about that a little bit. Can you share for anybody that may not know what that is?
For sure.
Um, to about the business a little
Of
bit.
course, let me shift in corporate mode.
Corporate mode
All right, guys.
activated.
Energetic Exotics is the premier luxury and exotic rental business here in the state of Florida. We actually have 9 locations. And what Energetic Exotics is specifically is a lifestyle destination. If you're coming from California or Canada, which you have a lot of Canadians that come here to Florida, we will take care of your whole full blown experience from exotic cars. So if you want to hop in a Lamborghini and drive around while you're here in Tampa or any part of Florida, actually, to if you're looking for a luxury Airbnb or luxury place to stay in general, we have those crazy houses for you to stay in. Or if you're looking to hop on a yacht, we have yachts. If you're looking to have a water excursion, or there's more, yes, there's more.
Okay.
Or if you're looking to hop on a jet, we have jets.
Yeah, the only thing I told Marlon to do is to name one of those jet.
Yeah, there we go.
Jets jet.
That's just jet, JJ.
That's incredible. And I think one thing that you talked about is this is probably like one of the very first organization like energetic cars that is owned by Black people only.
Yes, that is super big, guys. I don't want to say the only, but this is probably the biggest corporation because this is global now. This is global, guys. It's not global, it's statewide, but it's getting there, right? This situation can be your next enterprise. If I tell you guys, if I told any of you guys what what we have going on right now, you guys will be mind blown. I can't tell you because then I have to kill you literally because I can't let this information leak. You guys will see it soon, 2026. But the stuff that we have going on now is just it's mind blowing. We're going to be partnering up with some cool different entities, and we're going to be enterprise.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question. What is the biggest misconception that people have about exotic cars, about the exotic car industry?
So let me ask you this for clarification: exotic cars, as far as owning a rental business, or exotic cars as far as like, hey, I'm about to drive one or buy one.
The business. What is the biggest misconception that people have about the exotic car industry?
Gotcha. So I think a lot of people think that first and foremost, we don't drive these cars. A lot of people like you have other rental businesses. I don't know what to call them. No disrespect. I don't know what they're doing, but you have other rental businesses that you'll see them every single day just driving their cars. I'm like, are you guys renting or are you guys enjoying it? What are you guys doing? We do not drive our personal vehicles. There's cars that I own, Marlon owns, Jessica owns, the business owns, partnerships, whatever the case may be. We don't drive them unless it's going out to make money. We're strictly for profit. We're not here for flex. We're not here to stunt. A lot of people have the misconception that, hey, if I start this business, I'm gonna look cool, and that's sweet if that's your business model. But we're overly strategic. If I'm going to buy this Lamborghini Huracan and I'm going to shell out this much money, it needs to make sense. I have to buy it at this price and I have to keep it at this mileage so that when I exit this car, I'm at least recouping back some of these funds. A lot of these guys are putting 30, 40, 50,000 miles in a month. I don't know where they're driving to, but they're putting 20, 30,000 50,000 miles in a month and a year extra, excluding what's already being rented out on their vehicles. And then when they sell it, they get like pennies.
Yeah.
We're overly strategic, right? This is not for fun for us. This is a business. This is a corporation. And I always tell people there's no difference between coming to Energetic Exotics and going to Hertz, except for the type of vehicle you're getting. It's going to be the same type of paperwork, same type of experience or better. And we're strictly here to make it make sense for not only ourselves financially, but for our investors. This isn't a amusement park.
Yeah. And I think from one of the conversation that I've had with you, you guys are looking to start like an actual dealership with exotic cars. Is that something that you guys are still working on, or is it like?
Yes. So we actually, it's already done. It's already done. That's all I got to say. It's already done. 2026, we're going to have some cool things going. The dealership is done. We're going to be selling some Lamborghinis and stuff soon.
Fantastic. So the last time I talked to Marlon, I think you guys had like maybe 80 to 90 cars under your fleet. How many cars do you have right now, and how many do you guys actually own? And I know because you guys own some of them and there is a strategy behind getting some other people to invest with you.
Absolutely.
So can you talk about that a little bit?
Honestly, it's roughly around the same amount. The amount hasn't changed, just the vehicles have. We do a lot of turnover in a sense of like we'll keep a vehicle for like a year or two and then get rid of it. So we're very big on making sure our vehicles are as current as possible. I'm not buying a 2026 car. I think it's stupid, obviously, because of the depreciation. However, I'll get the 2024, 2025, 2023s. And for the most part, they're going to all have the same spec. The 2026 might have different headlights or maybe like a emblem replacement or something stupid and minor that a lot of our customers they don't
They don't
know,
care about.
right?
Yeah.
A Lamborghini is a Lamborghini is a Lamborghini. So for us, we do a lot of rotation of vehicles. So we'll rotate some out. We just upgraded our Maybach. We got a new Maybach. We just upgraded our Urus. We had an older Urus. I think it was a 2022. We're in 2025 now. So coming up on 2026, we're like, let's just get a new one. So we ended up getting a newer one. We do a lot of these changes. So the vehicles, for the most part, are around the same amount. But how it works out is we own personally and through the company about roughly 25 to 30 vehicles. And then as far as the vehicle management side, that's the rest of it. So you're looking at, I think it is 61 or something like that, vehicle management situations that we take care of. That's throughout the whole state of Florida, running from Ocala down to Miami. And again, we have 9 locations working on our northern part of Florida, hopefully going into Tallahassee and Jacksonville. I don't know what's in Tallahassee or Jacksonville. Honestly, I love the areas. Shout out to the party areas, I guess. But for your Tallahassees, we have to be overly strategic. It's not going to be any Lamborghinis in Tallahassee. That's not the market. However, I can throw some Escalades or some C8s up there. They're cheaper. And it fits that demographic. Jacksonville is a little different. I'll probably do the same thing as far as the type of fleet. But going down south is where we keep the McLaren 765s and the Lamborghini SVJs and all the crazier cars. Tampa's getting there, but as of right now, we're just keeping it base.
Yeah. So you're running Energetic Exotic as a partner, and you're also doing real estate still on the side. What's the hardest part of doing both Energetic Exotic and also running a real estate business?
Nothing. Reason why I say that is because both of those categories fall into the category of lifestyle. The individuals I deal with for real estate, I showcase lifestyle. They're looking for lifestyle. Antwan, I want a house on the water. I need the pool. I need this. I need lifestyle, right? Hey, Antwan, I want a Lamborghini. I'm looking to go drive around. Lifestyle. It's all lifestyle. For me, my brain is obviously weird, and I'm super scatterbrained and ADHD and all these crazy things I got diagnosed with. But uh, I make it happen. I just make it happen. I literally allocate probably like 30 different hats in the day. I'm the janitor for 30 minutes out of my day. I'm a CEO over here. I'm another guy over here. I'm all these different hats and different people that I have to play throughout the day. Sometimes people call me. I'll be like, Saudi, Antwan not here. Like sometimes I'm some other guy. I don't know, right? I play all these different roles, and honestly, it makes me kind of crazy because I'm all these different entities throughout the day. However, if you're not going to be your own supporter of those different things, it's not going to work out. I have no other choice but to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're nearing the completion of the talk show, I have a few more questions for you,
Shoot.
more regarding personal growth and legacy. So, what are some of the daily habits that keep you focused and balanced every day?
My daily habits and my routine has always just been I've always been a runner growing up. I love to run. I love the gym. I'm not no Vin Diesel or The Rock Johnson, but I love to stay in shape. I love to keep that balance. To start the day with exercise and with a mindset shift. I like to listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff in the morning. That just helps me out for my specific routine. Um, you talked about legacy. I think that's super big for me. Legacy in the sense of like just being the first person in my family to change my whole bloodline. I think for me that's super big and something that I've completed. Not completed fully, but started to I guess endure. for me, that's super huge. I do not have kids yet, and I'm very big on like when I do have kids, I want to make sure that properly set up the stage for them. I love seeing Marlon and his son Zach's relationship. I love that. For me, it's like, okay, cool. Like, wow, that's a great father. And it's something for me, I guess I didn't really have that type of relationship with my dad. So whenever I see Marlon, I'm kind of living vicariously through Zach. I'm like, cool, man. Like, dang, they're going to the games together. Zach's in the band. Wow, his dad is going to the game with him. Like, my family's never been to any of my games ever, 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 ever. And I get it. Again, younger parents, they had to do this and that. I get it 100%. But for me, I'm just making sure that I set up the platform and the stage for my son or my daughter so that when they're here, they're set, they're taken care of. For the past few years, have been throwing countless money towards my Fidelity account, my IRA, and all these different things that I have just to make sure that when it is time that I have the nest egg in the appropriate situation set for my kids. I'm very big on legacy.
Yeah. You talk a lot about the five pillars that you have. Why is it health as much as important as making money?
I think, and I love utilizing the five pillars. Everything has to make sense, right? You have to be set mentally, physically, spiritually, sexually, and emotionally. If you're not set in all five of those tiers, it's kind of like, I hate to use the word chakras, but it's kind of like your alignment is off. You can't just be a being that chases the financial side of things, but your physical is off, and your emotional is off, and your mental is off, and sexually you're off sexual. And when I talk about the sexuality standpoint of it, it's not a sense of sex in the standpoint of hey, I'm gonna talk to all these women. It's more so about discipline when I talk about the sexuality aspect. I think specifically for men, the discipline aspect is not there. And growing up, I mean, we're guys. I get it. It's the challenge. Hey, how many girls you got? Look, I'm talking to this girl. I get it. But when it comes down to discipline and you learn discipline as a man with your sexuality, you turn into a unstoppable person because you're not phased and you're not bothered by the chick that messages you at 3 a.m. and she's like, "Can I come over?" You're like, "Nah, I'm good. I got to go to the gym at 5:30." It's the discipline aspect of it. So when it comes down to it, if you have all five of those tiers aligned, even if you get four and you're working on the fifth, or even if you're at three and you're working on the other two, you'll be unbeatable.
Yeah. Yeah. Earlier, you talked about how you've helped, Jessica and Marlon set up their social media. Um, how do you use social media to build your brand and the business? What are some of the things that you are doing to build your brand and business on social media?
For sure. I think when it comes to social media, it's just getting in front of people. E- Views, getting those eyeballs on you. If you don't have any eyeballs on you, you're irrelevant, right? The more views that you can get, the more impact that you can do within the community. Whether you're posting a video and the video is, hey, if you come into Tampa, you can get a exotic car, and someone sees that video and they're like, oh wow, thank God I've been looking for an exotic car. This guy posted it. Impact, right? You have to post what you do on a daily basis. You're going to miss opportunities and miss that money. You're going to miss the opportunity to meet new people, new clients if you're not in front of those people. I can't tell you how many times I've posted that I'm a real estate agent, and I still have people on my social media say, hey, I'm looking for a real estate agent. My family, my own family, they've bought houses with other real estate agents while I'm a real estate agent. My sister actually. And it's just, it happens, right? And I'm like, I'm confused. I don't know what you think I do all day, but things like that happen. If you're not on social media and if you're not marketing your business, not that it won't fail, it's not going to fail, but it won't succeed in the manner that you would like. Social media, being in front of people, even if it's not just on social media, if you're going out and you're in the streets, you're shaking hands and kissing babies, going to different networking events, you have to do all those things. And what I did is from real estate, I did all that and I just translated it over into the exotic car world. And I'm like, okay, cool. I know that marketing helped here. I'm pretty sure it's going to definitely help over here. Let me just translate it over.
Fantastic. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs chasing fast success?
Man, it's not going to last. I kid you not, you're going to have a nice couple years run, and I wish you the best of luck. But 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the line, you're going to crash out and burn because you're like, wow, back in the day, I used to look cool. Back in the day, I used to have this. I never wanted to be that guy. You have to have a strategic plan for all of this stuff. I don't buy fancy things like I do buy Rolexes, but I don't buy all the crazy jewelry, and I'm not going to all these crazy restaurants and stuff like that every single day. I might go here and there, but there's a lot of entrepreneurs here in the Tampa Bay area that they live just this lavish lifestyle. Do I want to do it sometimes? 100%. Do I do it sometimes? 100%. I have some Gucci and Louis bags in the back trunk right now, but I haven't bought anything in the past like 4 or 5 months, and I'm overly disciplined. It's great to have the finances to do it now, but again, ebbs and flows. There's going to come a day where you never know. IRS might come and get you. You never know. Something might happen, and now you're in a position where you're starting from ground zero. And imagine if you didn't buy that $300,000 watch and $100,000 bust down chain and all these crazy things and vacations in Tulum and all this stuff every single day. It's very important to realize that you should live below your means and understand that these times are amazing, but it does not last forever. Unless you're like Mark Zuckerberg and you just got billions of dollars. Even then, these guys are still working, right? That should be a sign to you like, hey, like Elon Musk is very rich. Why is he still working? Well, he understands that nothing, he can lose it all today, right? He's paid via stocks anyways. All that stuff can go down today. He can lose it all today and be a regular common guy. You have to make it make sense and understand that something can happen. It won't last forever.
Yeah. What is the biggest lessons that you've learned over your life that is helping you succeed today?
Biggest lessons, it's actually a phrase. It's kind of funny, but you have two ears and one mouth for a reason, right? So God bless you with two ears so that you can listen, and one mouth so you can speak when it's time to speak. I am very big on just taking in data and taking in information. Someone always told me that. It was actually one of my grandparents, but I need to do more listening than talking. You have two ears for a reason. And I always try to be the fly in the room, or better yet, I love the phrase bosses don't speak, right? All the other people do all the talking. The bosses sit in the back and they just listen. I'm always listening in. I'm always being a sponge. I will forever be a sponge. And I always got told to be a sponge. Never feel like you're a know-it-all. I make a great amount of money, but that doesn't mean that I need to stop learning. That doesn't mean that, cool, I got a lot of money. All right, cool guys, I'm done with all this. Like, no, that's not how that works. Continue to grow, to continue to be a sponge and soak in as much as you can. We're amazing beings, but we only use a specific capacity of our brain. We are not even tapped into our full potential. There's so much more that you can get out of yourself, but you have to be a sponge. You have to listen. You have to take in all that data and utilize it.
Fantastic. You just mentioned God. What role has faith played in your journey?
Man, my grandmother put that belt on me if I didn't read the Bible. Again, I was raised by both of my grandmothers, actually, both of my grandparents on both sides. Again, one grandmother was the lenient one. I used to love going to her house because I know that I can go walk down the street to the flip lady or the corner store lady, whatever, and grab some snacks, and I can just walk by myself. And the other one was very big on, hey, read the Bible, or I'm gonna go get a switch, as like she liked to call it, a switch, and you're gonna get whooped. But God played a big role growing up, very, 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 very young. And it's amazing because I had to prove to myself at one point that for me, God is always on my side. And the way I proved that to myself was I stopped doing certain things and I prayed more. And I realized that those things, and I hate to use God and manifestation in the same terms, because then you got those overly Christian people that'd be like, hey, manifestation is science. It's not, because manifestation is in the Bible. But I seen how everything manifested and created itself quicker, and things went a lot more smoother when I got that morning prayer in, or if I went to I go to City Life Church, or when I went to church every Sunday morning and I got the word in. And for me, it always been an amazing situation for me to be close to God, because man, I without the prayer that I prayed, without the prayer that I went through, I would probably have been that depressed guy, probably walking down the streets like talking to myself, because I'm like, hey, like I lost $100,000. No, man, prayer is very big to me, and I thank my grandmother for forcing me with that switch and that belt to read that Bible every morning. Um, and I laugh about it now, but back then I actually hated to do that. I actually resented the situation because there's no explanation of why we did it. But as I gotten older and I understood who God was for me and to me, my life has just been it's been phenomenal.
Awesome. Um, as we ending the show today, do you have any last advice or parting advice for anybody watching this?
For sure, for sure. I would say see what you're good at and see how you can translate those situations into your day-to-day routine. I know what I did, right? The drugs and all that stuff. I didn't do drugs, but selling the drugs and stuff like that. And it sounds cool. I know that culture, whether it's the rappers or whatever the case, they make it seem cool. Hey, have you 5 girlfriends, and hey, we're popping pills and taking drugs. Like all that stuff seems cool, but no, man, get yourself together now. The worst thing that you can do is wake up later on in life and be like, wow, I have no 401k. I have nothing set up. Where's the food stamps? I need to get myself together right now. The worst thing you can do is try to do it later. The best thing that you can do is start today. Start today, figure your stuff out, change your life, and your circumstances will definitely change.
Fantastic. For anybody watching this that wants to get a hold of you or connect with you or learn about Energetic Exotic, how can they get a hold of you?
For sure. So for Energetic Exotics, it's just energeticexotics.com, and or on Instagram, Energetic Exotics. Same thing on TikTok. For me personally, it's Antwan underscore Shirley on Instagram, and then just Antwan Shirley on Facebook and TikTok as well.
Fantastic. Man, it was such a pleasure getting to chat with you and learning about your journey, about the things that you're working on right now. So thank you for being on the show. And
Absolutely.
for those people watching this, don't if you need Energetic Exotic car, definitely reach out to these guys.
Absolutely.
Marlon and Jessica are fantastic people. And yeah, would definitely recommend them. So there you have it. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go, baby. You know what it is? It's fire, baby. Awesome. Good
Cool,
job.
brother. Yes.